Hey guys, how's everybody doing out there? Other Kid here. Welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody's doing well and being safe. And being safe, it's a real big thing right now. If I feel a little bit down, guys, while this is being recorded, it's March 18th. It's a very special day. It's my late mother's birthday, and she would have been 63 if she was alive to this day. So if I feel a little down, I wasn't going to do it, but a little voice in my head was saying do it, and I believe it was my mom saying it. But I'm here to finally give you an overview of WandaVision. You probably have been asking yourselves, like, I wonder why Kristen put up one. Like, what's going on? Well, I'm here. What happened was, after the series done, I didn't go right into a overview. I let it digest of everything I saw, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it again just to see if I missed anything. Then I'll do it. So here I am to do it now for you guys, and we're here to talk about WandaVision. We're here to talk about the quote-unquote first show from the Disney Plus side of the MCU. The point about it is also the fact that this was not actually supposed to be the first of the shows. I believe Loki was supposed to be first, but because of the pandemic, everything got changed, so here we are. But let's talk about WandaVision. First and foremost, I like to give a praise to Paul Bettany and Miss Elizabeth Olsen, for especially Elizabeth, because Miss Olsen really, this was spotlighted on her. She had a supporting cast, but the spotlight was really on her. So we really got to see her range as this character of Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch. So I really enjoyed that. I really liked that aspect. And all the supporting cast from Tania Paris, I believe, yeah, who played Monica Rambeau, was great to see her and see the beginning of her character arc, as well as what her future holds. I enjoyed that too. Randall Park, who played Jimmy Woo, we saw a better showing of him in this than in Ant-Man. Even though when I think about Jimmy Woo, I thought of somebody else that could have played the character. I'll save that for another time. But we saw a different side of the MCU that we have not seen. I know a lot of people were thrown off by this show because they were really pulling from these classic family sitcom shows, with a little retconning as well, little retconning in there, but it wouldn't be a comic show, TV, if they didn't do some retconning to make the characters fit. And even some of the red herrings, which a lot of people got really upset about, oh my God, why didn't you do this? And I'm gonna get into that. Later. Okay, we're gonna get into that. But all in all, this was a really damn good show. A lot of my theories weren't true, but a lot of my theories did come true. So, but Elizabeth definitely, Miss Olsen gets a lot of the credit for this show. Really do. And this is really good for her, personally for me, as someone who kind of grew up with her sisters, to see her kind of really get out of the shadows of her sisters, in a sense, because that's kind of tough, to get out, especially if your sisters were famous than you, especially if you're in a family that is very active. And so I really appreciate that she was able to find her own niche, and then also really kind of push out of that shadow that her sisters have. So I'm really happy for her for that. But I love the show. I even like the whole concept with the the concept of like Dick Van Dyke and Bewitched and all those other classic shows that I used to watch. I still watch if I catch them on like TV Land or something like that. I'm watching them. So I really appreciate that aspect of it. So Elizabeth Olsen, great job. Paul Bettany, great job as Vision. And give a big, big props to Tanio. I hope I'm saying her name right. Paris, who played Monica, as well as Catherine Hunt as Agatha Hartnett. Oh my God, this is the same woman. I've always felt she is highly underrated, but she killed it. And more importantly, you really got to see the range of this woman, as well as getting to see that this is the same woman that played Doc Ock in Into the Spider-Verse. Look how she did in that, right? So, the concept of the show was really interesting. The sitcom and Wanda, the grief that Wanda's still feeling after the loss of Vision played a big factor. I like that. I thought that was really good. Sometimes we all grieve in our own way. I think we do. We all grieve in our own way. And with Wanda, I think they really gave us a glimpse into how she deals with it. But more importantly, when you're watching it at first, the first episode and maybe the first 3 episodes, and so you start like, well, her powers don't work like that. Like, especially in the MCU version, she's more of she can manipulate people and telekinetic and move things and things. But the way they were doing some things in this, it was really, really interesting. And then when they finally started explaining what's going on and how Wanda is doing this, then it was like, whoa. The concept of the kids, introducing the twins, which I was glad they put Billy and Ted in it. It was great. Speed and Wiccan. It was great to see them and see them kind of grow, get a little older. They didn't get too old, but we don't know. They could come back. I'm not going to talk like nobody's never seen this, guys, because I'm sure you have seen it already. But in also retrospect of how they did Monica's story, of you seeing her come back from this and then seeing that her mom's dead, and of course that's going to hit me real quick, and seeing that she is a part of Sword, which was really interesting to me because I was really a little upset with that. Like, Sword is Earth based. I was like, where's the peak? Where's the peak? Up in space, but I'll explain that later. But I thought it was really cool, a little homage to like Peggy Carter, where we saw that Monica's mom was a founder of Sword. So I thought that was really cool. Didn't trust her boss Haywood for a second. Never. He just gave off that vibe. I was like, yeah, I don't trust this fool. I really don't. To see them literally how he approached the situation compared to Monica, how she's like, she wants to understand the why this is happening. Why is Monica doing this? I mean, not Monica. Why is Wanda doing this? Instead of with Haywood, he's more like, she's a threat. We have to take her out. Blah, blah, blah. Instead of that, I clearly was just against that from day one. When we started to see a lot of things starting to happen and like, okay, what the heck is going on? Those are the most intriguing things. And when we started to kind of figure out maybe somebody's manipulated, is Wanda really the bad guy? Is she being manipulated? Or is she really, this is how she really is? Especially when we started seeing the flashbacks of her and how she wanted to honor Vision and everything like that. you're kind of in that sense like I oh man, like whoa, you know what I'm saying? Um, the range for Paul Bettany worked. Like we really got to see him really kind of have more range, where we got to see kind of the comedic side of him, as well as not just the serious tone of Vision. So it worked. It really did. It worked out, and I really enjoyed that. Um, while they had the West View and everything like that, and then when you started to see everything, the moment things really started to pick up in the series, I really then that's where a lot of people, I would say, probably got really invested. But I was invested from the get go. I know there were a lot of people that just could not watch the show. They were just like, "This isn't my cup of tea." But once it really got the motion around it, and especially when they incorporated Wanda's brother, especially when this was like the first time since we heard Wanda say, "Yeah, I had a brother," and then when they incorporated Evan Peters into the show, which was the big red herring. I was shocked. Because I thought it was going to be Aaron Taylor Johnson. They were going to bring him back, but they didn't. But I heard there was talks that he was supposed to come back. He was good. They were going to bring him back, but they went with Evan Peters. And everybody out of their mama started saying, "Oh, this is how they're going to bring in the X-Men." And I'm going to get into that too. I felt, no, this is a trick. No. But it was a red herring that people should have just taken for what it was. A red herring to get people to think that this was going to be some kind of segue into that. One of the biggest things I had a problem with, I had a problem with not really a problem I had with the show, but it was the mention of, to me it was just Haywood that really just kept throwing me off with that. He just bothered me so much in this show. Haywood bothered me, and I could not take. I was like, "Oh, please!" There were points to me. I'm like, "Please die!" Like I was just so sick of him after a while. And there was a scene in there where he ripped into Monica about her mother, and I said to myself, if I was Monica, superior or not, I would have decked that fool right there. Like, as soon as he said, I was like, "Monica, deck him. Hit him. Like, because I could not take him. One of the things I loved the most about the show, besides Katherine Hines, because she was just really great in this, but was the concept of magic. They really put the emphasis on magic. It was magic, not magic sorcery. It wasn't just, they didn't make it feel like it was just a science. No, this was legit magic. Once it was announced that Catherine was Agatha, which I clearly said, go back and watch my reactions, I clearly called that. I was like, yeah, that's Agatha. But the way they built it off was even better. Now, I know there's probably some people that would be like, wasn't Agatha like her Wanda's like mentor and everything like that? Why would she be the villain? If you go back throughout the course and history of Agatha Harkness, she's been kind of like a tweener at times. There have been times she had played the villain, and she would serve a certain red demon from another dimension. Yeah. So yeah, there were times, but even when they gave a little bit into her origin, it was like, okay, we've never seen this far back in the concept of the MCU. Like, they went back, and once I saw it, I'm like, okay, this is Salem. I'm like, okay, we know where we're going. And seeing that she was dabbling in dark magic, and her covenant, and including the leader of her covenant, her mother, was like, okay, you're on the trial by fire, which was great. I really enjoyed that. And once they really started to get into the concept of, Wanda being a witch, and a very powerful witch, but clearly even something that's inside the book, The Darkhold, because that's what that book was. Once I saw that book, I'm like, ooh, baby. Yeah, that's gonna cause some trouble. And all my comic heads out there know that book. If you don't, do your research into it. You'll see what's coming. So when they started pulling that off, I'm like, okay. And when Agatha wanted to know more about like how come you never been trained and things like this, and like I said, that's when the retconning came. Like, okay, and it was always said that there was an explosion, and we kind of got to see like where Wanda and her hate for Tony Stark comes from at that point, but they were basically saying no, it was Wanda using her powers to kind of probability of it exploding, which was a good twist, a good retcon, but it worked. And I like that concept, but we got to see that why Wanda felt the way she did and why she was using these sitcoms and everything, because she grew up watching them, and I was like, because my diagnosis was it's probably something she's never had, a happy home. So, and those sitcoms from the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, they were all about happy home families. Yeah, they had some due diligence but it was still the same. And I really enjoyed that too, from a standpoint of, how Wanda felt. And even when she visited the disabled Vision, and then her driving and then doing what she did, you still felt her. You didn't really necessarily felt like she was the bad guy, because in some cases, if I could, I put myself in her shoes, and I thought the writers did a good job of doing that. Put yourself in Wanda's shoes. Like, you lost everything and you had the power to do it again. I like that. But what I also love was the whole coming of age of like, yeah, she is the Scarlet Witch, and the reason why and how they even came about acknowledging that, like, yeah, she's the Scarlet, and there's a page of her in the Darkhold all about this powerful witch whose powers supposedly rivals or even exceeds the Sorcerer Supreme. And I know a lot of people were questioning that too, because I had a lot of guys that were like, Chris, you're a big comic fan. Is Wanda stronger than Doctor Strange? Like, does she have that kind of power? And the thing about Wanda is that chaotic magic is her forte. That's her forte, chaotic magic. And of course her other powers, which were once her mutant powers, was probability. She can alter the probability in things. I always looked at Wanda as someone, yes, that is a rival for Doc, the good doctor. I'm not, being, sexist about like, oh, no, she's not. She could, but this is also Agatha, who was playing with her for a lot. You don't know what she could have been making that up. I don't mind it. I know there was a lot of people that hated that. Like, here Marvel go again. I read several posts, and on Reddit, one of them just went. Oh, this guy, I'm not gonna call him because he doesn't get. I won't give him the satisfaction. This dude went on a complete rant about, here we go again, Marvel, the MCU making their female characters stronger than the males. I'm like, oh my God, here we go. These stupid SJW anti, whatever people. I'm like, here we go again. But I've seen stuff like that, guys, and it just drives me crazy with it. If it happens, so what? Like, okay. But Doctor Strange is still he's still a Sorcerer Supreme. You gotta remember that too. He's the Sorcerer Supreme. Keep that in mind. But I loved once they really started getting the ball rolling of, everything. Like, yeah, it was Wanda, it was Agatha. She did everything. She was pulling the strings, and even that song. I heard that song is like a hit on iTunes or something. It's pretty funny. But one of the things I called, and I immediately said, we're gonna get in the show, was we're either gonna get a different vision. And I called that. I said, we're either going to get the original Golden Age Vision or we're going to get White Vision. And I posted that on Facebook. And I said that. I was like, we're going to get White Vision. Once I saw them disabling Vision, I was like, this is giving me West Coast Avengers vibe. I'm like, yeah, they're gonna bring White. And then what happened? We did get him. And the whole concept of that is really cool. I do like the fact that Vision is back, but in a different form with all the memories. I like that. But Wanda coming to grips of who she is, and she looked so beautiful in the James Robinson costume, because that's more of the James Robinson look from his Scarlet Witch run, which was really good. It focused on Wanda going around solving crimes that are dealing with supernatural crimes, and it was a really good. They also introduced a character called the Celtic Mage or Celtic. I forgot his name, but he was an Irish villain for her, and played off really well for her. James Robinson did a really good job. So when we saw James Robinson's costume fully, I loved it. I was like, she looks so beautiful in it. She looked very elegant and sexy, but it didn't take away from the elegance of her. Because I know there's a lot of people, oh man, she looks so hot. And I'm like, yeah, but the accuracy of it was perfect. I like that. I like the fact that we got to see a little glimpse of what Monica is going to be able to do. Because there are a lot of people that don't realize that what we saw in WandaVision is only, like, I would say 3% of what this woman could do. Okay? She can do far more than what we saw her doing in that show. They didn't even scratch the surface of what she can do. Believe me when I tell you, she can do a lot more than that. Wait till you see her flying at the speed of light and changing her molecules and using all the different light spectrums, and even being able to morph herself into someone else, like shape-shifting, because she can bend the light around her to make her look like someone else. There's so much Monica can do, hasn't even touched the surface yet. And that's what I'm looking forward to too. This show really touched on what's to come. And what I also love, the fact they didn't kill off Agatha. So we could see her again someday. But we do get to see plants of seeds of other shows and the other movies for the Phase 4. From Captain Marvel 2, we know that Monica and Kamala Khan are going to be in that. It also goes into more deep into the Doctor Strange and multiverse, because after we saw Wanda leave, we saw her in kind of like a remnants similar to when we saw her in the cabin. I got Incredible Hulk vibes, like Bruce was off the grid and he was kind of learning how to, I guess you could say, control, and then he looked up and then you saw the eyes, but it kind of gave like, okay, he went mad, or he's gonna be a villain. It didn't happen. But in this, we saw Wanda reading into the Darkholm. And when I saw that, I'm like, Wanda, what are you doing? Like, no, baby girl, no, what are you doing? It only leads to trouble with that book. Um, you know, and then you hear in the boys, Mom, help. And I'm like, we may see them back. Because I instantly believe Marvel, Kevin Feige, and everybody, we are building to a Young Avengers show or movie. I don't know. I don't really care, but we're building to them. And you can clearly see they are. You clearly see they are. So who knows? We could see the boys again, but older. Not how they were now. I'm glad that Haywood got what was coming to him. I really wish Haywood. I was talking to my buddy, Mr. Multiverse. We were talking about it, and I was like, and we were both like, it would have been cool if when Haywood was getting arrested, a woman walked up and said, "You are no longer head of Sword," and he's like almost like disgusted because he knew who it was, and then they pan the camera on and we see a green-haired woman, Abigail Brand, the new leader of Sword. It would have been cool, but we didn't go there. The twist of the Skrull wanting to see Monica and saying that Nick Fury wants to talk to you because that's what Nick is. He's on the peak. Yeah, I thought that was really cool, and I think we may see Monica again before Captain Marvel. We could see her again. You know, maybe we'll see her in Secret Invasion. I don't know. We could see that. But I thought that was a good twist. This series was really good. It makes me wonder what's next for Vision now. What happens to him? What happens to Jimmy Woo? Like, because I can clearly see them doing like a Agents of Atlas Disney Plus show, and we get to see Jimmy Woo with the other agents, Namora, Gorilla Man, Mercury, all those characters from their Agents of Atlas, and making it built off like a mixture between X-Files and Warehouse 13. That'd be so cool to me. I'm just saying. What's gonna go more with Darcy? Are we gonna see more of her? But it gave us a really good vibe. But yeah, with Wanda, it's like, why, baby girl? Why are you reading that book? That book. Why that book? Damn it, Wanda. Like, so yeah. But overall, I love the show. I thought it was great. My overview was just, it was great. It hit it right out the park. It gave us what we needed, and one of the things I wanted was to really put the emphasis on magic in this, and not it more like being a science, but like magic. Like, stop messing with us now, because you can go there now. That's where I want the MCU now to start. They stop thinking and stop trying to be grounded and make these things kind of based in reality. Just go for it. Just go out there, like the comics. Like, there's mutants, there's sorcerers, there's wizards, there's superhumans, and all these. Just go there. Aliens, just go there. Stop being scared to do that. And this kind of gave us that. With Vision now back online, but now the white Vision and more of, he's got the memories and everything like that. This would be a perfect time for them to really, really tap into the Tom King story, where we do get to see Vision and maybe a new family that he creates, and we get to see Vision, and hell, Jocasta would be great to introduce. Y'all could do that. Y'all can go, Vision creates Jocasta and Viv, and Jocasta is Viv's mom instead of the other way around. That'd be cool. Little ideas. Having said that, outside of that, good stuff. Let's talk about, I'm going to talk quickly about people pissed off about their theories didn't come true. Grow up. Grow the freak up. I'm trying not to curse here. Grow up. Another one of my friends said it best, and I have to kind of agree. These hardcore MCU fans have been spoiled. too spoiled. Because if they don't get what they want to throw hissy fits. Many of my theories didn't come true. You see me pissed off about it? No. They were like, oh, the engineer should have been Reed Richards. Why? Why? But, and this is where you guys, you use your god dang heads. Before they even announced Fantastic Four was coming back, WandaVision had already been shot and done. You think they were just going to edit that and say no? See, I didn't even think it was Reed Richards. You know who I thought it was? I thought it was the Blue Marvel. Monica's engineer friend, because they got history. And I'd rather see him before FF. The other thing, people messed up, theorized because this didn't incorporate mutants. Kevin Feige said straight off, straight from the rib, they're not going to touch the mutants yet. And you don't get, like, what the, did you not hear what the man said? He said, we're not going to probably touch the mutants to phase 5. Build up is more better than just incorporating them into something that has no place right now. Ridiculous. So I agree with my man. Like, I agree with him. Like, you guys got spoiled. Trust in these writers. Trust in Feige to do what he needs to do. Stop BSing with the just BS. God dang. Like, the moment I started, like, oh, I love that article. I forgot what article it was, like, my theories didn't come true, and that's a good thing. You know, basically playing off of my theory, and that's a bad thing. No, I love that they went there. I forgot who wrote the article, but it was just like, this is a perfect article because it made sense. For all you out there that got pissed off because of the fact that your theories didn't come true, or they didn't put the mutants in there and all that, grow up. Grow up. Ridiculous. Yeah, I had theories. They didn't come true. Every comic book site had theories. It didn't come true. Some of them were even a stretch. For me, the biggest one that I found to stretch, I liked the theory, but it was still a stretch, was from the Nerdist. And they said, could Sword be building Sentinels? And I said, that's a stretch. Why would they be building Sentinels now? With no Boulevard Trask? It's stupid. Like, just think, man. Like, it's just think. It just think, man. But a lot of the theories I just stayed out of. But a lot of the everything else, you know, what's to come next? Like, the future is still bright for a lot of these characters. And it makes you wonder, like, what's going to go down, especially Monica. You know, you're like, okay, what happened between her and Auntie Carol? Like, what happened between them? Because we saw there's some animosity there. You know, there's some animosity that needs to be dealt with. Monica, and same thing with Wanda. Like, Wanda, what's going to bring her and Doctor Strange together? Because to me, I feel very confident that Wanda's playing with fire that she should not be playing with. She's opening the door to people like, we could see the return of Dormammu. And I would not be shocked if Dormammu does return in Doctor Strange 2. We know Baron Mordo's coming back. We know whatever is going to happen, she's going to be involved in it. and we don't know what she's gonna do. We also know that America Chavez is gonna be in it, and we know she has a place in the multiverse. So yeah, Wanda's doing something. She's playing with fire with that book. Playing with fire with that book. Who made that book? A god. A very powerful, demonic being. It's going to be really interesting. But I am willing. I'm hoping to see more of Wanda kind of master her abilities more, because she was pretty good, but with more practice, it's like the same thing with Doctor Strange. You see how he was in the first movie compared to how he was in Avengers. He was dropping every known incantation we know Doctor Strange for, from from the, I don't want to say all the different incantations, but the 12 rings of Moody Poo to the vapors, to the multi. Oh, gee, he rocked it. So imagine if we saw what Doctor Strange can do. Imagine now seeing what Wanda could do in due time. But outside of that, guys, I really enjoyed WandaVision. Next up is Captain America. Falcon and Winter Soldier, which is going to be a little bit more shorter. They're only doing 6 episodes, but I have my theories on that, and I'm looking forward to see how much they come true. And if not, that's fine. But all in all, I'm just going to have a fun time with it. You guys tell me in the comments down below, what did you think about WandaVision? What was the things you loved the most about it? What are the things you didn't like too much about it? What were some of your theories? Did they come true? Did they not? And are you one of those people that were disappointed that your theory didn't come true and you are about it? Please don't be one of those. Please. I hate to hear my pack members of my pack were like that. I hate that. But that being said, my pack, this is your Alpha saying peace, one love, stay tuned, keep it real. I will see you guys next time. Deuces.